We got to do that one more time. Not breaking news. It's not breaking news. It is KC Sports Tonight with these two guys. Guy and gal, I really should say. Boy, we're off to a hot start today on this Memorial Day. Well, good evening.
It's Monday.
And thank you for joining us here on KC Sports Tonight. I am Mark Poulose, joined by superstar Katie Maher on this Memorial Day. I hope you guys all had a chance to pay your respects to those, on this special day and did all that. But, boy, it was, I think I'm so flustered because Katie, I thought we were going to go into the show and I thought I was going to be talking about a Royals victory. So for those of you that might not know, back at home, I came over here probably I had to do a hit at 5:15 down in the studio, so I came out into our streaming studio maybe about 5 o'clock, a little bit after, to kind of get everything kind of prepared, the graphics and all this, and I wrote about the Royals homestand, because at the time, they were up 3-2. About 10 minutes later, I walk downstairs, go to the studio, I see a TV, and the Royals are down 4-3. Katie, you were kind of watching. I'm still in shock. What happened?
The bottom of the ninth, the Royals are going to royal. I mean, this is a classic story of, you get deep into the bullpen and things happen. And the Yankees, they do something that the Royals are not as good at, and that's hitting the baseball and scoring runs. It's not even the first, the Yankees are. I follow a lot of Yankee baseball. Just yesterday, Aaron Judge hit a 2-run homer to walk off and win the game 2-0 yesterday in their series finale against whoever they were playing. So nothing new for them to do things in dramatic fashion by any means. They pay to have a roster that can do this type of stuff, and the roster does this type of stuff. However, when you're a Royals fan, that sucks because, let's paint the picture first and foremost. Have you walked outside today? It's beautiful outside. I walked my dog before I came into work today, and I saw my pool. There was not an empty chair. It was full. So if you weren't by a body of water today, the next best place to be was probably Kauffman Stadium for a 2:00 game against the Yankees, and hopefully watching the Royals take a 1-0 lead in the series. And for fans there, it was kind of this, Yankees get on the board to score 2 runs early. The Royals battle back. Salvi makes some history, which we'll talk about in a second probably. And then they got the lead, and then
they didn't. I like how you're kind of setting that up, because it kind of strikes me, it truly is like a play in 3 acts what occurred today out at Kauffman Stadium. So for those of you maybe at home watching this, you just logged on to YouTube, you logged on to the app, you logged on to Facebook. It's been Memorial Day. You have no idea what's going on. Here's what you need to know. So the Royals today, 2:40 p.m., kicked off a 3-game home series against the New York Yankees on Memorial Day. It's a national TV game. It's on ESPN. Michael Wacha is on the mound for Kansas City. He's been their best starting pitcher so far this year. I think he entered the game with an ERA around 2.61, something like that. But the Yankees come out early on, score 2 runs early. Cody Bellinger hits one practically out of the ballpark. Yankees take a 2-0 lead. But then the Royals, we go to Act 2. The Royals start to come back. Salvador Perez hits a home run. Katie, it made some history. What was that history?
Yes, he tied George Brett, the great, for his stadium home run record with 136, 137.
Dingers, yeah. So
136 all-time at Kauffman Stadium. So his stadium record has been tied, and he's now only 5 back from tying his all-time career record.
So
of 317.
Big home run there for Salvi. That ties the game up at 2. Game goes to the bottom of the 8th, still tied at 2. Arguably the best position player in all of baseball. Bobby Witt Jr. is there at the dish. What does he do? Smacks a homer. Blast this ball. ESPN right here says 432 feet to left field. Bobby, that's a tater right there. Royals go up 3-2. Everything looks like it's going great. What do the Royals do? Top 9. Yankees are coming up to the dish. They bring in lights out Lucas Erceg, who I know a lot of Royals fans here in Kansas City truly think he is the best reliever in the bullpen. But it's different in the 9th inning. It's different when you have to close out games. I know there's a lot of baseball fans out there. They fall in love with the analytics. They believe the sabermetric. If the 9th inning, it's not that big of a deal. You need to have high leverage guys, get the guys out. Well, the 9th inning, it is a big deal. It's hard to close out games. That's why Major League Baseball teams pay more for closers than any other relief spot because it's hard to get those final 3 outs.
He's doing a job that is not his to typically do.
That's exactly correct. But Lucas unable to get that done, blows the save. Anthony Volpe single to left field that drove in 2 runs, including the much maligned, or maybe I should say infamous here in Kansas City, Jazz Chisholm coming in to score there. So the Royals lose 4-2. So Katie, long way to say this. I really kind of thought after the Royals had a series victory this weekend, I thought they were going to beat the Yankees today up 3-2. I was going to kind of have a vibe check here on the Royals, say, hey, maybe the Royals are turning things around. But now I'm feeling that's not the case.
I say let's see how game 2 goes tomorrow. Because I mean, winning every game in a series, it's hard. It's hard in baseball. It's not possible, a lot of the time. So, if they go down 2-0 and the Yankees clinch the series tomorrow, okay, yeah, we can continue crying and about giving our woes about the Royals. But they are coming off a series win over the Mariners at home, rounding out a 9-game homestand. The one thing that I think they have going against them here is the fact that I don't think this series is counting so much as a home series, because if you listened to the broadcast, the moment that the Yankees walked it off with the 4-3 final, I heard way louder cheers than I did any boos or anything else. There are a lot of Yankees fans in town for this.
Yeah, a lot of Yankee fans here. So, hey, Royals fans, Kansas City people, that means you guys need to go out there, pack the K, let them know this is Kansas City, it is not New York, and we'll see maybe if the Royals can turn this around and get a series victory. But to do that, they're going to have to win these next 2 games against the New York Yankees, and that will be that'll certainly be a tough task for the Royals. But, hey, we'll see what happens. I see someone here in the comments said they were going to watch, but we seem to have forgotten about the KC Mavericks. No. Hold your horses. We love the KC Mavericks here at KC.
Mark is the biggest KC Mavericks fan that I know.
Yeah,
and
trust me.
I love hockey too.
We're going to talk about some KC Mavericks. Don't go away. Trust me. I promise you, we're going to talk some KC Mavericks. So we'll have that. But we do have some other stuff to talk about today. We got to talk about the KU baseball team. Now, the Kansas Jayhawks baseball team has really found a new trajectory under Dan Fitzgerald, who came to Katie. Where did he come from to KU from?
He was the associate head coach or assistant head coach at LSU, but his head coaching experience was at DBU in Dallas.
Okay, he came from DBU in Dallas, tremendous baseball program. LSU out of the SEC, tremendous baseball program. Guess what, guys? He's taken a lot of the lessons that he's learned and gotten from those places and taken them here to Lawrence, Kansas, and really thrived in this new era of college baseball, because now Kansas is going to the what is it?
You spelled Mavs wrong. That's
well, no. The Mavs is there. That is supposed to be the Cavs.
Oh, it is supposed to be the Cavs.
That because it's Johnson County Community College.
Oh, they go on.
But we could do Cavs/Mavs on fire and appease that one commenter. And I promise you, we do love the KC Mavericks.
Okay, sorry,
and the Johnson County Cavaliers. But Dan Fitzgerald comes here. KU is now in the NCAA tournament for back-to-back years, and for the first time in school history. The University of Kansas goes back a long time. The baseball team at the University of Kansas goes back for a long time. For the first time in school history, they are hosting an NCAA tournament regional. Well, now, why is that such a big deal? Because only 16 teams in the country each year are picked to host a regional. KU, the number 15 overall seed at this year's NCAA tournament. Now, Katie, I know you've talked to Dan Fitzgerald. You've interviewed Dan Fitzgerald. But for KU to be able to host a regional in Lawrence at Hoagland Ballpark, what kind of a statement do you think this makes for the program?
It makes a statement for community college, for JUCO baseball across the country, because I've interviewed Dan Fitzgerald a lot of times. My first story that I covered as a full-time reporter fresh out of college was actually his introductory press conference. It was like on my 3rd day of work in Topeka almost 4 years ago. And from the start, I remember him just talking a lot about how much he believed in developing JUCO players and, bringing guys up out of that. And if you look at if you go to KU baseball's roster page and look at, the previous colleges, because now that we're in the NIL and transfer portal era, it shows previous colleges on most athletic roster pages. All of those guys are going to say that they started at a JUCO. And it's the case for a lot of their best players in the team as well, and a lot of their pitchers. So Dan Fitzgerald has kind of put the nation on notice, with these SEC baseball programs, which time will tell if KU can compete with them in the postseason, of course. But, with a lot of them, you see a lot more of the, 4 and 5 star, highly rated prospects out of high school that are going there, et cetera, et cetera. We have some here in this area, kids that are like that. We have other kids, across Kansas and Missouri that are like that. But these guys on these Jayhawks are JUCO bandits, like that. Like, they're just this gritty, fun group that knows how to win in tough situations, and they're fun to watch. They're entertaining. They have a program that students have bought into. If you've seen what the student section is like at Hoagland Ballpark, like, you don't see that very often in college baseball. Like, you see it for football and basketball if it's a good basketball program, but you just don't see stuff like that for college baseball. And the fans have bought in. They're making all these changes to the ballpark. It's the first time and to put even more history on the page here, it's the first time in 77 years that the Jayhawks won the regular season title in baseball.
Yeah.
77 years.
That's a whole lifespan.
That is a very, very long time. So, yeah, it puts it into perspective. I will say I do think the Big 12 was done just a little bit dirty with having KU as 15 and West Virginia as 16 overall. And then once again, it is unfortunate that the Jayhawks have to meet the Arkansas Razorbacks in the postseason, because it feels like Arkansas just kind of kicks them in the butt every time they face them in the postseason. So I'm a little bit worried about that. I think they kind of got the short end of the stick here with their draw. The other two teams, not really concerned about them in the regional, but yeah. So big news for the Jayhawks, but all in all, I'm a little concerned for this weekend.
Yeah, so in that Lawrence Regional, KU is going to host Arkansas, who's the 2 seed. The 3 seed is Missouri State, the Bears, which is pretty cool. Missouri State making the NCAA tournament. The Missouri Tigers, the big state school in the SEC, obviously staying at home. And then the 4 seed, who KU will take on Friday at noon, is the Northeastern Huskies, who won the CAA to get to this point. So KU, very cool to see that, and I really like how you said that the environment there in Lawrence at Hoagland Ballpark is such a big deal, because the players today at their event in Lawrence for the NCAA tournament selection show, they talked about how they feel like they are a better team at home, and it is because a lot of those home fans and the environment that they've created there in Lawrence, Kansas. So a very cool thing to see. And then, Katie, as you were kind of talking about there, a very big part of KU's baseball success is the fact that they have a lot of good junior college baseball players. And here in the Kansas City area, we have arguably the best junior college baseball team in the entire country. And I'm talking about the #1 ranked Johnson County Community College Cavaliers, the Cavs, on fire. They're at the NJCAA World Series out there in Grand Junction, Colorado. Now, JCCC, they played their first World Series game on Saturday, and they played the number 10 team in the country. So you figure, number 1 against number 10.
Community College?
Yeah, Hartford Community College out of Maryland.
The Fighting Katie Mars, because I took one winter class there when I was in college for 3 credits.
Hey, 3 credits. You're officially a Hartford. I already forgot their mascot. What were they? The Hartford.
That's how good of a
it had something to do with Maryland.
Winter semester student that I am.
Whatever. They took on Hartford.
Owls?
I think it is the Owls. I think you're right. No, I think you're spot on. But so the Hartford, they're number 10 in the country. That's what I want to keep bringing up. They are a good baseball team. I think they had less than 10 losses this entire season. They're obviously in the Junior College World Series. And what happens in that game? Johnson County takes them to the woodshed. I mean, this was, again, I'm going to say this again, the Junior College World Series. Johnson County beat them 19-2 and run ruled them in the 5th inning. So Johnson County Community College, they are back in action tonight. They are taking on Walters State out of Tennessee. First pitch in that one is scheduled for 7 p.m. out there in Colorado, something that you can watch on ESPN+. But Katie, I have been this Johnson County baseball story has been so cool to me, because this year they led the nation in home runs, in hits, in runs, in so many stats. I think they were number 2 in batting average, and their batting average was just a measly 393. But
and this program is where, if you look at the KU baseball roster, a lot of those guys are from Johnson County Community College. So.
But it's just, I've just been in such shock by how good they've been. But I think they have a 41-game win streak this year. Like, how cool is it that, you think maybe the best JUCO baseball team in the country would be out of Texas, it would be out of Florida. And no, it seems like it's right out of Overland Park.
Hey, where's the best JUCO football program in the country? A lot of people would argue Hutchinson.
Yeah, in Kansas, Jayhawk
Yeah.
Conference or whatever it is. Yeah, so no, the great JUCO sports here in Kansas. Very cool to see that again. Johnson County Community College taking on Walters State out of Tennessee today at the Junior College World Series. But since it rhymes, we're going to talk about the Cavs. Now we're going to talk about some Mavs. So, whoever you were commenting there, here's your little Mavs talk for the day. We'll break down the business on that. So the KC Mavericks are the best team in the ECHL, and they have been all season long. They had the most wins, the most points in the regular season, and they started out the postseason on fire. First season opponent, Tahoe Night Monsters, 4-0 sweep. See ya, get out of town. Next series, the Allen Americans, probably the hottest team in the entire ECHL going into the playoffs, and incidentally, the last team who beat the KC Mavericks in the regular season. The Mavericks take them on in the Mountain Division Finals. Guess what? What happens? 4-0 sweep. See you later. Get out of town, Allen Americans. So that put the KC Mavericks in the ECHL's Western Conference Finals for the third year in a row. They're really trying to show and prove that they are one of the best teams, one of the best franchises in the league, which they are. And then they win game one of that series to go 9-0 in the postseason. Then what happens? Tough loss on Saturday at
We can
Cable
blame
Dahmer
Neil
Arena.
Jones for this.
We can blame Neil Jones for this because Friday I was in the house. Guess what? Mavericks victory. They take a 1-0 series lead. Saturday, game 2, we have Neil Jones. He got there early. Live shots before the game. Stayed
Neil
there for
got
the
somewhere
entire
early?
game.
What?
Yeah, Neil got there 5 hours early. Had to get let in. Then he got to the Royals on Friday, like 10 hours early. Had to get let in. That's a different story for a different day. But the Mavericks lost last night Saturday, Fort Wayne, to level the series at 1 game apiece. They immediately packed their bags, got in a bus, drove to Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Oof.
Got there because they have a game today, 6:35 p.m. But Katie, KC Mavericks backs against the wall. Not really. 1-1, best of 7 series. But they lost their first game of the postseason. How do you think they're going to respond?
I think they'll respond with a win because it's what they've been doing all season long. We've been showing Mavericks highlights just all season long, and every single time it's just win after win after win. They score the most goals of anybody. They make it look easy. So, you need to get knocked on your butt every once in a while. I think that it's better that this happened now and not in the finals where they're going for it all. And, don't have to go back a game there. So I think it's good to get a little humbled. If it's not going to kill you.
No, that's a great point because
It's
actually
better to just lose now.
that's what Johnson County Community College's their head baseball coach said the other day because JCCC had to, going back to them, they had to come out of the losers bracket in their conference tournament to make it to the World Series because they had their 41 game win streak snapped.
Yep.
And I was talking to the head coach about that, and he goes, no, actually that loss was a good thing because it kind of refocused our guys, got that win streak out of here. But it also was like, hey, like if we want to win this, if we want to be the best team, like we're going to have to go out there and earn it. Like nothing is given. Like you got to go and take it. And so the Mavs now, they always, there's a saying in playoff sports, the series doesn't start until the home team loses. Well, the home team with home ice advantage, the KC Mavericks lost that game. So now game 3 tonight out there in Fort Wayne. We'll see if the Mavericks can get home ice back with a win tonight.
And Neil Jones won't be there.
Neil Jones won't be there because it's in Fort Wayne, but it is his day off, so maybe he could fly out there, hop on the company jet, maybe see what happens. But I don't think that's going to happen. Hey, whatever. You never know. Good luck to the Mavericks tonight, and there's some talk on the Mavs. Now, we're going to go from the ice to the pitch because the KC Current, Katie, you know the story probably better than anyone, so we'll let you take this. But the Current started the year really bad, but now things have changed.
Yes, the Current started the year 1-3, 2-4, if you want to go that far. Rode their first 3-game losing streak in about 2 years. 2+ years, yeah. I mean, they've been around for about 3 years. But, so it was not a pretty start. However, and then, right away, all the fans, Chris Armas was a mistake. What are we doing? Blah, blah, blah. We knew there was going to be growing pains. Anyone who could look at this with a clear, just focused point of view, you have to have known that there were going to be growing pains. With a first-year head coach who had never coached women's soccer before. Like, he was a men's coach before this. And, some new personnel as well. And then you add in the fact that Temwa Shawinga, the back-to-back NWSL MVP and Golden Boot Award winner, started the year on the SEI list, took a few weeks to come back, and then in her first few weeks back, about the first month, I'd say, was only playing maybe half the game. So and Michelle Cooper was dealing with injuries, a few other players as well. So the current team that we saw in the first month of the year was not going to be the current team that we saw 3 months down the line. And we're already 2 months down the line from that. And they put the league on notice yesterday by taking down the top team, the Portland Thorns, who are tied for first place right now with 23 points. I believe they're tied with Utah. I don't know. One of those teams. And
somebody.
Portland also happens to have maybe the best women's soccer player in the U.S. In Sophia Wilson, formerly Sophia Smith, who recently came back from maternity leave about a month ago and has really just looks like she didn't miss any time at all because she scored Portland's lone goal in this one. She's been scoring the last few games. They knew she was going to be a problem going into the game. Croy Bethune talked about it in their pregame availability on Friday. So, you know, in this match, you almost have to imagine, like, okay, we have to account for at least one goal from Portland because Sophia Wilson's going to get one. And they go down a goal early, which has happened to them a lot this year, but they come back and score 3 unanswered goals. The first by Lola Bonta, the captain, her first goal of 2026, the Selly Queen, which was awesome. And then Temwet Shawinga gets in the second half. And then Haley Hopkins in stoppage time just kind of adds a cherry on top off the bench, which was awesome. So the current win 3-1 put the league on notice, letting everybody know that they are back, that the early season struggles were just early season struggles, and now they're back in the race. I mean, they're only in 6th place in the NWSL standings. They believe they have 17 points, so they're only 6 points behind first.
It was, as the Current put on their social media yesterday, a top-of-the-table takedown, taking down the best team in the league. So very cool to see the Current do that. I think it's really been cool to see because I think, you know, there are a lot of fans out there, just as you said, really kind of getting on Chris Armis's case. I think it was 6 matches into his tenure, he legitimately got a question in a press conference about does he think about his job security just because the start to the season was so bad and the Current were just giving up goals that you couldn't believe because this was a team that was coming off the best regular season in league history. And they were, I mean, you look at their team, you're like, wow, like Michelle Cooper plays on Team USA, and Lola Bonta gets called up to Team USA, and Izzy Rodriguez gets called up to Team USA, and Ali Sintnor gets called up to Team USA, but the team is getting blown out 3-0. It wasn't making a lot of sense. So cool to see the Current turn things around. Also cool to see, I think it was after Timwa's goal yesterday, like Croy Bethune, big time hug to Chris Armis. I mean, Croy Bethune, how good has she been? And then Katie, you told me an interesting nugget yesterday from the press conference. So it's kind of been something it doesn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people. Like, we're all trying to figure out, you know, the Current had such a good year last year. Vlatko Andonovski is no longer the head coach. He gets allegedly a promotion to global sporting director for the team. He's supposed to take a bigger role. He hired Chris Armis, but still it's kind of like, boy, what's really going on here? Katie, what happened yesterday when you were at the stadium and you saw Vlatko?
Yeah, so I've seen Vlatko a few times. I've been to, I think, every home game except for one this season, and I've seen him up in the press box every time. Every time he's just had a big smile on his face, and he's just looked happy as can be, and the same was the case yesterday. We were waiting for the press conference to start. I'm just, you know, sitting on the stage next to my tripod, and Vlatko comes in the back door, and he just... hey, and everyone's like, and he goes around to everybody and shakes everyone's hand saying hi. He has the biggest smile on his face, just being the nicest guy in the world. And then, you know, he's reminiscing about, you know, oh, I was up here when we lost 2-1, blah, 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 blah. Like, that was not a fun game, blah, blah, blah. Like, so that was fun. And then he turns around, and Haley Hopkins and Croy Bethune come out of the locker room to come do their presser. And Haley Hopkins, Croy wasn't coached by Vlatko. Haley was. And Haley just screams the top of her lungs, and they have a big hug. And it was just very adorable. And, you know, it's nice to see how much everyone there still, his former players, love Vlatko. And we saw it at the Teal Rising Cup Championship as well. I actually have a video, like, I took a video of that as they went down the handshake line. They're all just freaking out because they love them some Vlatko. It is a situation that I think none of us will ever fully get to the bottom of what exactly happened, but everyone still loves Vlatko, and that's the moral of the story.
Yeah, and that's really what you want to hear. I mean, obviously there's a lot kind of going on there with the Current, but the reason I'm so glad that you were able to tell that story is, like, when you see things like that, that's an organization that feels like they've turned things around. And so it looks like
Yeah.
the Current have found themselves now on the right foot, and we'll see what they can do the rest of the way because they have a lot of talent. They look like they found a way to get it all out at the same time, and shout out to them. We'll see what happens. All right, one last topic, about 5 minutes left. Katie, I don't know what this is about, but you're telling me there's some big drama in the world of college softball.
Yes, so the Women's College World Series table is set. We know all 8 teams that are going to be there. They are the top teams in the country. Really not much of a surprise as to which teams are there, except for the fact that Oklahoma is not there. Their first time missing the Women's College World Series since 2015, fun fact, after they won 4 straight and went back last year. So all that to say, at the end of the super regional match yesterday between Florida and Texas Tech, there was no handshake line. And for the record, Mark is hearing all this for the first time. I started to tell him about 20 minutes ago before we came in here, and he was like, just air it out on the pod. So we're airing it out on the pod. Here's the backstory. Mia Williams, she's a player on Texas Tech, played at Florida last year. She transferred from Florida to Texas Tech. And for the backstory, Texas Tech went to the Women's College World Series final last year, where they ultimately lost. And it was a heartbreaker, but it taught them a lesson. Hey, we need another good pitcher on our staff that's not named Nyjah Kennedy. Nyjah Kennedy, if you didn't know, she's from Topeka, Kansas. I covered her in her early years at Stanford because she had graduated from high school about the time I got there.
She's a Kansas girl.
She's a Kansas girl. She is also a sweetheart. And she is their pitcher. She transferred from Stanford after 2 years. She signed a $1 million deal, making her the highest paid pitcher and women's college softball player ever. Signed, a similar, if not higher deal to come back for her senior year this year. And they said, well, we're not going to win the Women's College World Series if she has to pitch every single game, because she pitched every single game last year. So yeah, Texas Tech has built a roster similar to what they've done with football, might I add. Texas Tech has built a roster with money. It's just the name of the game in college athletics nowadays. They have paid to have one of the best rosters in softball, designed to win a Women's College World Series. And it's what they're trying to do. Tech wins the game yesterday. They punched their ticket back to the Women's College World Series. There's no handshake line between Florida and Tech. Mia Williams, the player who transferred, was hit by a pitch 5 times in this series.
Oh, wow.
By her former team. 5 times. That's what the people are saying.
So
I didn't watch every
serious
single game, but that's what everyone's saying online.
Yep.
And at the end of the game, all the Florida parents and fans are, there's a picture of a dad flipping off Texas Tech, which is not great behavior. The Texas Tech the Texas Tech girls, as they are like, okay, I guess we're not doing a handshake line, start walking back and start hyping up their section. Everyone's screaming at each other. If you guys just look this up on Twitter, you'll find the video, and it'll do a way better job than I could have explaining it. But it was just bad sportsmanship in a lot of different ways. And it all started with the fact that Mia Williams was hit by 5 pitches. And
hey, how can we fault her?
She got
left
messy.
The University of Florida, the best decision anybody in the world could have ever made.
We're
Shout
talking
out
to a Miami Hurricane.
Yeah,
here.
you are. No, but I mean, if they were hitting her on purpose and they hit her 5 times in the series,
5 times.
the umps need to take control and start kicking girls out of games.
A coach was also ejected.
You can't be hitting people on purpose at this level. That's just not what it's about. You're going to hit your former teammate 5 times, but hey, that's the University of Florida, baby. That's what they teach out there.
Their coach was also ejected.
Okay. Well,
this series got messy, and if you want more drama, watch women's college softball because it's awesome.
Yeah, no, women's softball is awesome. No, that's not what they teach at the University of Florida. But boy, if that was what happened and they were hitting their former teammate, I hope those girls can get their act together, because that's not how you're supposed to handle yourself on any field of action. But boy, Katie, that is some real softball drama, and it does involve the Kansas girl, Nyjah Kennedy. What'd you say? She's a sweetheart. She would never do this.
She is the sweetest girl in the world. Yeah.
No, so that's, tough situation there. But, hey, Nyjah will be cheering on for her at the Women's College World Series. The Johnson County Community College, you can cheer them on tonight in the Junior College World Series. And the Kansas Jayhawks, regional host for the very first time in the Kansas baseball tournament. So a lot of local stars shining on the diamond. But for now, that is a look at KC Sports Tonight on this Memorial Day, May the 25th. Catch up with us on our 6 p.m. news. But until then, take care.